Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the next session of our subject, that is railway and harbor engineering. In our today's session, we are going to start our section 2. We called it as the airport engineering. Okay. Now, as far as airport engineering is considered, I think this particular topic will take around 25 to 30 marks. The weightage will be there for 25 to 30 marks. Okay. And for docks and harbor, around 5 to 10 marks weightage will be there in your university examination. First half, that is railway engineering, is about 30 marks. Okay. Now this particular syllabus, airport engineering, it includes some numericals also, which are based on the design of the runway and design of the taxiway. Okay, you have to calculate the length of runway or the length of taxiway. Let us start the proceedings with the syllabus. In the airport engineering, we are going to deal with the air transport development, how the air transport system is there in our country, then runway and taxiway design, visual aids and the traffic control, and the heliports. Okay. If you see the syllabus, in the syllabus, we don't have the air transport development, that is history of the airport engineering. Okay. But still, for your better understanding and for the additional knowledge, I'm going to explain that part also. So air transport development, it includes the airport scenario in the India, that is stages of the development, then aircraft characteristics, airport planning, site selection, obstruction and zoning laws, imaginary surfaces, approach and turning zones. Okay. Now, as you can see, this is a typical layout of an airport. Have you visited any airport previously? Those members who are the part of this lectures, have you visited any airport previously? Madhuri, Aishwarya, Siddheshwar, or Tanaya? If not, a typical layout is there in front of you. You can see it. Okay. This is a typical layout of an airport. And I think this diagram will be there in your university examination, at least for maybe for 4 to 6 marks. Okay. You may get the question that you have to draw the typical layout of an airport and you have to explain each component. Okay. So for each component, the numbers are given. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see the runway. You can see the taxiway. You can see the aprons. You can see the ramp. You can see the hangars. I will use the pointer for the same. Okay. Numbers are given like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then runway is there. You can see taxiway, aprons, aircraft stands, then ramp, hangars, maintenance, parking of the airports, railway station if it is very close to it. Okay, then administrative building or the terminals. Okay, then general aviation terminal and other parts. Okay, now the road indicates a runway. It's an asphalt layer we have, or the asphalt pavement we have. I think everybody knows. Our airfield pavement or our runway for the airport is basically made up of your flexible pavement. Okay, or overlaying, that is of the flexible or rigid. Okay, but in most of the cases, it is of the asphalt pavement we have. Why asphalt pavement? Because one thing you need to understand, when the aircraft takes off or it lands, there is a friction which is going to happen between the tire and the road surface, correct? And as you know, rigid pavement will offer more friction as compared with the flexible pavement. Okay. So as for that reason only, our runways are made up of our asphalt pavements only. Okay. So keep that thing in the mind. Friction we need to consider, the friction which is going to occur between the tire and the road surface. If you take the rigid pavement, it's a hard material or the hard surface we have, more friction is there. And as there is more friction, there is more wear and tear of the tire as well as of the road surface. But in case of the flexible, friction is comparatively low with the rigid pavements. So there is less wear and tear in case of the asphalt pavements. And that is why we prefer the runways as our asphalt pavements. If somebody asks you why the runways are always of asphalt pavements only. Okay, so that is the reason, the friction we need to consider, the technical point. Okay. Then first point that indicates runway lightning. Here, if you see the first point, it indicates the runway lightning. इथे तुमची runway ची lightning असणार आहे. ठीक आहे. Then second point, it is de-icing area. The second point which you are going to see, it's a de-icing your airport is located in the very means suppose it is located in the northern region of our country where temperature generally it is around 10 or less than 10 degrees centigrade. So de-icing area should be have. If there is a snowfall, we need to clean the surface, runway surface as well as the taxiway surface. So we have that area. Then third one is the threshold. Now what is this pre-threshold? We know our aircraft will start, and when it will start, it requires huge power. It requires some horsepower to start its engine. Correct? To start its engine. So threshold. नेमकं असं किती power we require? How much power will we require to start the engine to generate some force in that particular aircraft, and the aircraft will start. Okay. So generally threshold we need to consider. See, as far as aircraft is considered, the distance we need to consider that is after the runway is around 1 to 2 kilometers. 1 to 2 kilometers. And you will observe there no one is standing behind any aircraft at least for 300 meters. At least for 300 meters, because when aircraft will start, it requires a power. It requires a threshold. It means it is going to generate a huge amount of power to start its engine and then to take off, or maybe at the time of landing also. Okay. So some energy being required by that aircraft, and for that we have some threshold area which is kept reserved. Okay, so a few components you are going to see like aprons or the wraps or the hangers. Now each component we'll discuss in detail about it. What are the different components we have, but at the latter stage. Okay, basic components I will tell you. Runway, you know, it is utilized by the aircrafts to take off or to land. Okay, the road which is used by, or the pavement surface which is used by the aircrafts for their landing or for their takeoff purpose, we called it as the runways. Now after runways, aircraft, it has to take the parking, it has to come to its destination. हे एका पूर्ण एकाच रनवे वरती सगळे एअरक्राफ्ट असतात करायच नाही. एअरक्राफ्टचं लँडिंग झाले, लँडिंग झाल्यानंतर सर्व पॅसेंजर्स उतरलेत आणि हे एअरक्राफ्ट दुसऱ्या दिवशी दुसऱ्या एखाद्या ठिकाणी जाणार असेल तर ते एअरक्राफ्ट काय केलं जातं, पार्किंग एरियामध्ये आणलं जातं. एअरक्राफ्टची सुद्धा पार्किंग असते. ठीक आहे, मग हे आणण्यासाठी जो रस्ता यूज करतात, यू कॉल्ड इट ॲज अ टॅक्सीवे. सोप्या भाषेत सांगण्याचा प्रयत्न करतो, अंडरस्टँड करून. टॅक्सीवे म्हणजे नेमकं काय? ओके, it is the medium which is going to connect your runway and the administrative building, and which is utilized to take the turn and just take that aircraft maybe in the apron region or maybe in the hangar region. ठीक आहे, apron हे जे तुम्ही पाहता ना एअरक्राफ्ट स्टँड्स, apron म्हणजे जिथे एअरक्राफ्टचं पार्किंग केलं जातं असा एरिया, याला म्हटलं जातं apron. Where we are going to park our aircrafts, that portion we called it as the aprons. त्याला काय म्हटलं जातं, मग apron असं म्हटलं जातं. ठीक आहे, where we are going to park our aircrafts, and where there is a repair and maintenance work is going on. Suppose the aircraft काहीतरी रिपेअर आहे, हवा चेक करायची आहे, त्याचं कॉन्फिगरेशन, व्हील कॉन्फिगरेशन बघायचं आहे, किंवा अजून काही मेंटेनन्सचं वर्क असेल त्या एअरक्राफ्ट रिलेटेड. सो that is to be done in the area we called it as the hangars. लक्षात घ्या, apron, it is reserved for the parking of the aircrafts. Okay, where aircrafts are get parked, that area we called it as the aprons. And what are the hangars? Hangars are nothing but those areas where we are going to do the repair and maintenance work of the aircrafts. जिथे आपण एअरक्राफ्टचं रिपेअर आणि मेंटेनन्स वर्क करतो ना, ते एरियाला म्हटलं जातं hangars. Okay, so these are the key elements or the components of the aircrafts, as I told you. If you look at the history of the aircrafts, if you have to take glimpses of it, so in 1918, the first international airmail service was started in the France between Toulouse to Barcelona, and then in 1929, the first plane to ground radio communication was established. Okay, then in 1939, the first jet flight was made in Germany by the jet aircraft manufactured by the Henke Aircraft Company. This is very important for us to know about. Formation of the ICAO, that is International Civil Aviation Organization. It was founded on 1947. This is the central agency of our globe, or where it takes the control of all the aircraft, means all the workings of the aircrafts at different international or the national airports, Okay, so International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, is one of the centralized units we have in the world, which controls and which monitors the civil aviation work. Okay. Then, as far as our country is considered, we have the Airport Authority of India. In our country, we have Airport Authority of India. आपल्याकडे एअरपोर्ट ऑथॉरिटी ऑफ इंडिया ही एक सेंट्रल गव्हर्नमेंटची एजन्सी आहे, विच विल मॉनिटर, विच विल कंट्रोल ऑल द सिव्हिल एव्हिएशन वर्क. ज्या म्हणजे जेवढे काही आपल्याकडे एअरपोर्ट्स आहेत भारतामध्ये, काही डोमेस्टिक आहेत, काही नॅशनल आहेत, काही इंटरनॅशनल एअरपोर्ट्स आहेत आपल्याकडे, लाईक मुंबई एअरपोर्ट असेल किंवा दिल्ली एअरपोर्ट असेल किंवा अजून कुठले. ठीक आहे. मग ह्या एअरपोर्ट वरती वेगवेगळ्या देशातून आलेली विमानं, तिथे वेगवेगळ्या देशातून आलेलं मटेरियल किंवा कार्गोज असेल, त्याचं लोडिंग आणि अनलोडिंग किंवा पॅसेंजर्सचं लोडिंग आणि अनलोडिंग, त्यांचं ट्रान्सपोर्टेशन, हे जे पूर्ण वर्कआउट सिस्टीम बघितली जाते हे AI द्वारे बघितले जाते. इन इंडिया वी हॅव एअरपोर्ट ऑथॉरिटी ऑफ इंडिया. आणि संपूर्ण जगामध्ये ICAO ही ऑर्गनायझेशन आहे, दॅट इज इंटरनॅशनल सिव्हिल एव्हिएशन ऑर्गनायझेशन. ओके. As far as our country is considered, the first air flight in India was performed in the year 1911 when the Frenchman carried a mail from Allahabad to Naini for a distance of about 10 kilometers. Have you seen what that movie? I just forgot which tells the history or which tells the story of Indian airport system when first aircraft was invented. विमानाचा शोध कुणी लावला रे? सगळ्यांना माहिती आहे. कुणी लावलेला आहे? Can anybody give me the answer? Who has invented the aircrafts? कुणी लावलाय विमानाचा शोध? Right, बंधू? Correct? Am I correct? Tanaya, Madhuri, who is there? Siddheshwar. Who has invented the aircrafts? So I will give you a minute to give the answer. Correct, right, Bandhu? Huh? I think my answer is correct. But who has invented the aircraft? Actually, maybe I can take the example of in our country. Have you seen that movie of? I just forgot the name of that actor, which is totally based on the civil aviation work, the invention of the aircraft in our country. Right now, I just forget the name of that hero. That movie is there. त्याचं नाव पण असंच काहीतरी परिंदे किंवा काहीतरी असं. ठीक आहे. Okay, let it be. You can search it on the internet. But as far as our country is considered, the first air commercial air service was established in 1930 by the Tata Airlines. Air India entered into the jet age in 1960 when Boeing 707 services were started between India and London and subsequently extended to New York. India's first Boeing 747, a jumbo jet, which is of 2.5 times of the size of Boeing 707. It was the Ashoka Imperial, which was produced in 1971. ठीक आहे. सर्वांना Boeing 707 हे विमान माहिती आहे, सगळ्यात मोठं विमान, पण त्यापेक्षा पण मोठं आहे Boeing 747. Okay, which is around 2.5 times, अडीच पट आहे of Boeing 707. Okay, and it was there in 1971. Okay, now what is about the airport engineering? If you just see the definition, airport engineering, it encompasses the planning, design, or it is the branch of highway transportation engineering. It is one of the mode of the transportation engineering which deals with the planning, design, construction of the terminals, runways, navigational aids, and to provide the passengers and freight service. To have the freight, passenger and freight service, whatever the planning, then design and the construction of the terminals or the runways or the taxiways, airport engineering, all it deals with this particular work. Okay, so airport engineers design and construct the airports. आता तुम्ही म्हणताल सर सिव्हिल इंजिनियरचा काय रोल आहे यामध्ये? What is the role of civil engineers in this particular part or these sections? We are going to play a very crucial role as far as our airport engineering is considered. Who is going to build the runway? Who is going to build the taxiway? Who is going to build the terminal buildings? Civil engineers are there. So civil engineers, they have secured recruitment in our airport division also. That recruitment drive was conducted totally by the, I think, Airport Authority of India, that is AAI, and through that recruitment process is there. Okay, for the design of the runways and the taxiways, which type of material, course aggregates we require, everything. Okay, then these engineers must use the analysis of the predominant wind direction to determine the runway orientation. खूप महत्वाचा पार्ट आहे आपल्या एअरपोर्ट इंजिनिअरिंग मध्ये, जो सिव्हिलला डायरेक्टली रिलेट किंवा एक डिपेंडन्सी आहे, ते आहे तुमच्या विंड डायरेक्शन फॉर द डिझाइन ऑफ द रनवे ओरिएंटेशन. Okay, what is the basic wind speed you are going to consider? Have you used the basic wind speed, this concept, in your whole engineering? Have you used this concept of wind direction or the wind intensity or the basic wind speed? Such words have you used previously? I will give you 3 minutes to give the answer of this question. Okay, and I will again come back to you. So take 3 minutes and search the answer for this question. Have you used these words like basic wind speed or the wind direction in your entire engineering till date? Okay, and where you have used, what is the application of this wind direction or the can I say basic wind speed, these words. Okay, I have given you 3 minutes to search the answer for this.
Yeah,
Okay, have you got the answer for this question which I asked you? बघा, बेसिक विंड स्पीड किंवा विंड डायरेक्शन कुठे यूज करतोय आपण? तुम्ही डिझाईन ऑफ स्टील स्ट्रक्चर मध्ये बघितलेलं आहे. तुम्हाला बेसिक विंड स्पीड कन्सिडर करावं लागतो. तसं आपल्या एअरपोर्ट इंजिनिअरिंग मधला एक महत्वाचा पार्ट आहे तुम्हाला विंड ओरिएंटेशन. ठीक आहे, किंवा विंडचं डायरेक्शन, कुठल्या बाजूने वारं वाहत आहे. कारण तुमचं रनवे डिझाईन असेल, टॅक्सीवे डिझाईन असेल, यासाठी या खूप क्रुशियल आहेत. कारण तुमच्या विमानाचं लँडिंग कुठं असलं पाहिजे, टेक ऑफ कुठं असलं पाहिजे, त्यासाठी रनवे तुम्ही कुठल्या डायरेक्शन मध्ये डिझाईन करताय, यासाठी बेसिक विंड स्पीडचा अभ्यास असणं खूप गरजेचं आहे. सपोज तुमच्या ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन मधनं वारं वाहतं, नेहमीच वाऱ्याची जी दिशा असणार आहे ती ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन मध्ये आहे. आणि जर तुम्ही त्या ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन मध्ये जर तुम्ही तुमचा रनवे कन्स्ट्रक्ट केला, वेदर इट इज इझी फॉर यू टू हॅव द लँड टेक ऑफ दॅट एअरक्राफ्ट, or if wind is blowing, of course wind is blowing in the perpendicular direction, in the parallel direction, it is the real case, but we need to consider the wind direction when we are going to design the runway or the taxiway. And for that we require the information about the windrows diagram. One part is there, I will show it to you. So from which direction, what is the basic wind speed, maybe from north, south, east, west, from which direction, what is the wind speed or the direction of the wind. Okay, that we need to consider. So in aircraft planning and its design, it is important for us to have the knowledge about the wind direction. Okay, now what is an airport? So an airport is a facility where passengers connect from the ground transportation to the air transportation. It's a facility that we are going to provide it. So it is a location where aircraft such as airplanes or the helicopters take off and the land. It also may be stored or maintained at the airports. Okay, now what is airport terminology? जे आपण वेगवेगळ्या एअरपोर्ट वरती ज्या वेगवेगळ्या टर्म्स ऐकतो त्याचा आपण मीनिंग बघणार आहोत. फर्स्ट इज एरोड्रोम. व्हॉट इज द एरोड्रोम? So aerodrome, any defined area on the land or on the water. Any defined area on the land or water intended to be used for the arrival and the departure of the aircraft. That we called it as the aerodrome. Any defined area where there is arrival and the departure of that aircraft, we called it as the aerodrome. What is airfield? Actually, that aerodrome, it is provided with the facilities like the shelter and the repair of the aircrafts. What is airfield? Airfield, it is an area which is used for the landing, and takeoff of an aircraft. It may not be provided with the convenience of the passengers or for the shelters and the repairs. So airfield, it is the area which is used for the landing and takeoff. Runway is important part of this airfield. Okay, then aeroplane. What is the aeroplane? It is a power driven, heavier than the air flying machine with the fixed wings. Everyone knows the meaning of aeroplane. सगळ्यांना माहिती आहे काय डिफाइन करू शकता एरोप्लेन म्हणजे काय? It is a power driven, heavier than the air flying machine with the fixed wings. सगळ्यांना माहिती आहे the aircraft or the aeroplane. Then aircraft, it is a general term which is used to mean any machine for navigating the air. It may be lighter or heavier than the air. It may be a glider, aeroplane, helicopter, or the rocket. Okay. Then airport, it is an aerodrome which is principally intended for the use of the commercial services. Airport capacity. Capacity, how many aircrafts will land, how many aircrafts will park, how many aircrafts will take a takeoff. Okay, so the number of aircrafts movement which an airport can handle. The number of aircraft movement which an airport can handle within the specified period of the time, we call it as the airport capacity. Okay. Then approach zones for the approach areas. Now approach zone, aircraft neither gain or loses its height at all once, but it does gradually along with an inclined path. सगळ्यांना माहिती आहे एअरक्राफ्ट कसं लँडिंग होतं रे? Gradually it is going to land on the surface. Just a minute. So gradually it is going to land on a runway, correct? So aircraft neither gains or lose the height at once, बट इट ग्रॅज्युअली. असं होतं का रे, एखादा एअरक्राफ्ट वरती आहे आणि डायरेक्ट ते खाली येऊन आले, रनवे वरती डायरेक्ट पार्क झाले, एकदम सरळ खाली आले, ते असं होत नाही. ग्रॅज्युअली इट कम्स डाऊन अँड ग्रॅज्युअली इट गोज अप. ठीक आहे, जर तुम्ही त्याची मुवमेंट बघितली असेल तर डायरेक्ट एका जागेवरून 100 मीटर हाईट वरती जात नाहीत लगेच. ग्रॅज्युअली इट गोज ऑन. ठीक आहे. सो अप्रोच झोन इंडिकेट्स अ वाइड एरिया on either side of a particular runway. Approach zones indicates a wide area on either side of the particular runway up to a certain distance, which is kept clear of any obstruction. The center line of the approach zone coincides with the runway. म्हणजे बघा, तुम्हाला डायग्राम दाखवतो पहिली. हे बघा, तुमचं एअरक्राफ्ट इथं आलंय, हा झाला तुझा अप्रोच झोन. ठीक आहे, हा झाला काय त्याचा अप्रोच झोन. ठीक आहे. कशा पद्धतीने एखादा एअरक्राफ्ट तुमच्या एअरपोर्ट वरती जवळ येणार आहे एअरपोर्टच्या, आणि त्यानंतर ते रनवे वरती लँड होणार आहे. ठीक आहे. मग कुठल्या झोन वरती तो येणार आहे आणि कसा तो लँड होणार आहे रनवे वरती. रनवेच्या आसपासचा जो परिसर असतो, विच इज क्लिअर, नो ऑब्स्ट्रक्शन्स आर देअर, दॅट वी कॉल्ड इट एज द अप्रोच झोन्स. ओके. Center line of the approach zone coincides with the runway, as I told you. The area on the ground is a trapezoidal in shape with its width increasing from the runway. Okay. I think yes, the diagram is there. This is your runway, as I told you. It is the object free area and extended object free area. कुठल्याही एअरपोर्ट वरती मी जसं सांगितलं तुम्हाला, थोडीशी ऍडिशनल माहिती सांगतो. रनवेची लेंथ ही अराउंड 2 किलोमीटर असते, 2.5 अराउंड त्या रेंज मध्ये राहणार आहे. 2 किलोमीटर ते 3 किलोमीटरच्या आसपास. कुठल्या टाईपचं रनवे एअरपोर्ट असू द्या, ए टाईप मध्ये असू द्या. आपल्याकडे एअरपोर्टचे 5 टाइप्स आहेत, कॅटेगरीज ए, बी, सी, डी आणि ई. ठीक आहे, एक क्लासिफिकेशन सांगतो. आणि रनवेची जी लेंथ आहे, बेसिकली इट इज इन बिटवीन 2000 to 3000. 2000 मीटर ते 3000 मीटर, म्हणजेच 2 ते 3 किलोमीटरच्या मध्ये असते. पण जसं मी तुम्हाला सांगितलं, एअरपोर्ट लँड करत असताना किंवा एखादा एअरक्राफ्ट ज्यावेळेस तुम्ही चालू करताय, ठीक आहे, ज्यावेळेस हे एअरक्राफ्ट चालू होतं, इट रिक्वायर्स पॉवर टू जनरेट द एनर्जी within the body of that aircraft to start it, then to just take a takeoff. टेकऑफ घेण्यासाठी त्याला फुल पॉवर लागणार आहे. किंवा एखादा एअरक्राफ्ट जेव्हा लँड होत असतोय, अगेन इट रिक्वायर्स सम एनर्जी टू स्टॉप दॅट एअरक्राफ्ट. अँड फॉर दॅट रिझन वी हॅव द अप्रोच झोन्स. आणि एअरक्राफ्टची जी ऍक्च्युअल रनवेची लेंथ असते ना, त्याच्या पुढे सुद्धा एक्सटेंडेड खूप सारे एरिया असतो. म्हणजे 2 किलोमीटर जर रनवेची लेंथ असेल, तर ऍटलिस्ट 1 किलोमीटर वर पुढे एक्सटेंडेड एरिया असतो. हा एक्सटेंडेड एरिया पॉवर जनरेशन असेल किंवा त्याचं लँडिंग जे ऑपरेशन्स असतात, किंवा इन केस ऑफ इमर्जन्सी ऑल्सो यू कॅन युटिलाइज दिस पार्ट. ओके, आय होप यू आर गेटिंग एव्हरीवन. Apron, as I told you, what is apron? It is the defined air area of the airport to accommodate the aircrafts. जिथं एअरक्राफ्टचं पार्किंग केलं जातं त्याला काय म्हटलं जातं? apron. Okay, airport parking. This area is basically used for the loading and unloading of the cargos, passengers, parking and refueling. Okay, जिथे एअरक्राफ्टचं पार्किंग केलं जातं अशा ठिकाणाला तुम्ही एप्रॉन म्हणताय. ह्या एप्रॉन मध्ये काय काय करू शकताय तुम्ही? यू कॅन लोड अँड अनलोड द कार्गोज और द पॅसेंजर्स एज वेल एज यू कॅन रिफ्यूल इट. देन कंट्रोल टावर, आय थिंक सगळ्यांना माहिती आहे कंट्रोल टावर, प्रत्येक एअरपोर्ट वरती बघितलं असेल तुम्ही, विच सेंड्स अस द मेसेजेस. कारण एअरपोर्ट मध्ये तो जो पायलट असतो, त्या पायलटला खाली कुठल्या एअरपोर्ट वरती लँड करायचं आहे त्यासोबत, तर तिथल्या एअरपोर्ट ऑथॉरिटी सोबत कम्युनिकेशन करण्यासाठी he has that mic with him. So the control tower through the control केले जाते movement. So tower which is usually situated at the top of the terminal building to control the air traffic. ह्युमिडिटी कशी आहे, अचानक वातावरणामध्ये बिघाड झालेला आहे. ठीक आहे, आता तुम्ही आय थिंक यू कॅन सी द मूवी ऑफ रनवे 34 अजय देवगन, रिसेंटली इट हॅज रिलीज. देयर आर सो मेनी actually. So there you can see the best example of the control tower, okay, which is situated at the top of the terminal building, which is used to control the air traffic. Then fuselage, it indicates the main body of the aircraft to which wings and other parts are attached. Aircraft ची main body असते ना, main body apart from the aircraft wings and the tire, त्याला fuselage असं म्हटलं जातं. Main body of the aircraft to which wings and other parts are attached. हे बघा apron area. ऍप्रॉन म्हणजे पार्किंग ऑफ द एअरक्राफ्ट, जिथं लोडिंग आणि अनलोडिंग केलं जातं. ठीक आहे, त्याला म्हटलं जातं ऍप्रॉन. ठीक आहे. त्यानंतर आउटसाइड अँड इनसाइड व्ह्यू ऑफ कंट्रोल टॉवर. हे पिक्चर मध्ये पाहिलेलं बघा, कंट्रोल टॉवर असा असतो आणि हा एक दुसरा डायग्राम आहे. ठीक आहे. आय जस्ट रिमेंबर दॅट पण कॉमेडी मूवी ढोल और समथिंग. ठीक आहे, त्यामध्ये बघा ते कंट्रोल टॉवर दाखवलेला आहे. तो काहीतरी सिग्नल देत असतो, रॉंगली सिग्नल. ठीक आहे. धमाल धमाल फर्स्ट. ठीक आहे, अरशद वारसीचा मूवी. ओके, देयर यू कॅन सी, और यू कॅन जस्ट सी द रन. ते आहे कंट्रोल टॉवर, ते आहे तुमचे एअरक्राफ्ट. याला म्हटलं जातं फ्युजलेज. सी द पॉइंटर विच आय एम शोइंग. अपार्ट फ्रॉम द विंग्स अँड द टायर्स, जी मेन बॉडी असते ना एअरक्राफ्टची, त्याला काय म्हटलं जातं? फ्युजलेज. ओके. हँगर. हँगर म्हणजे काय? जिथे एअरक्राफ्टचं रिपेअर आणि मेंटेनन्स काम केलं जातं. Okay, hangar is a large shed erected at the airport for the purpose of housing, servicing, and repairing of the aircrafts. जिथे एअरक्राफ्टचं रिपेअरिंग केलं जातं असा पोर्शन. ठीक आहे. त्यानंतर आहे मॅच नंबर. व्हॉट इज अ मॅच नंबर? So match number, it's the speed relative to the speed of the sound indicated by a number. We called it as a match number. Match 1 means the speed is equal to that of the sound. Okay. आता basically match number, we know in case of the aircrafts, a big sound will get generated when aircraft will land or it will just take off. Okay, so to have the proper intensity of that sound at the airports, okay, we have this match number systems. Okay, there are so many match numbers, 1 2 having the different meanings, not going in detail about it. Runway, we know it's a comparatively long and comparatively narrow strip of the land which is used for the landing and the takeoff of the aircrafts. Hangar, हे बघा हँगर, जिथं एअरक्राफ्ट आणलेला आहे तिथे त्याचं मेंटेनन्स, रिपेअर आणि मेंटेनन्सचं काम केलं जातं. असा जो एरिया असतो त्याला हँगर असं म्हटलं जातं. ठीक आहे. हा आहे तुमचा मॅच नंबर बघा. ठीक आहे. मॅच नंबर, ऑब्जेक्ट स्पीड डिवाइडेड बाय द स्पीड ऑफ द साऊंड. ठीक आहे. मग हे सबसोनिक असेल, सुपरसोनिक असेल, ट्रान्ससोनिक असेल, हायपरसोनिक असेल. मॅच नंबर 1 2 ग्रेटर दॅन 1 और 5. ओके. ऑब्जेक्ट स्पीड म्हणजे विमानाचा स्पीड आणि स्पीड ऑफ द साऊंड, त्यावेळेस हवेमध्ये साऊंड किती आहे, साऊंडचं स्पीड किती आहे. ठीक आहे. एखादं तुम्ही जर एखाद्या ठिकाणी ब्लास्ट झाला, एखादी गोळी झाली किंवा विंड ब्लो होते, इट रोअर्स, यु नो, साऊंड रोअरिंग म्हणजे असा आवाज तुम्ही बघताय. ठीक आहे, वाऱ्याचा सुद्धा. So object speed divided by the speed of the sound, you will get the match number. Okay. हा बघा, हा आहे तुमचा अप्रोच झोन. इथून तुमचा रनवे स्टार्ट होतोय आणि अशा पद्धतीने कुठेतरी पुढे टेक ऑफ असणार. ठीक आहे. टॅक्सीवे बघा, इथे विमान आहे, हा तुमचा मेन रनवे झाला आणि इथनं बघा इथे हा एक ट्रॅक दिसतोय. कदाचित तिकडे त्याचा अप्रोन किंवा हँगर असेल, पार्किंगचा एरिया. सो हा जो रस्ता असतो याला म्हटलं जातं टॅक्सीवे. दाखवतो. It's a defined path paved for the use of taxiing of the aircraft to and fro from the runway to the loading airport. What is terminal building? Next terminology, the portion of the airport other than the landing area. जी मेन बिल्डिंग असते, सपोज तुम्ही सीएसटी वगैरे बघितलं किंवा एखाद्या मूवी मध्ये बघितलं, एअरपोर्टचा मेन बिल्डिंग जिथे तुम्ही तिकीट काउंटर असतं, जिथे तुम्ही रेस्ट रूम असतात, जिथे तुमचं चेकिंग केलं जातं, पासपोर्ट चेक केला जातो. ठीक आहे. ही जी ऍडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव्ह बिल्डिंग असते त्या एखाद्या एअरपोर्टची, त्याला म्हटलं जातं टर्मिनल बिल्डिंग किंवा टर्मिनल एरिया. इट इन्क्लुड्स बिल्डिंग, ऍडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव्ह बिल्डिंग, aprons and the hangar. Okay. Next important part we are going to discuss is about the windrows diagram, but I think it's 2:55 in the clock, so we'll conclude our meeting at this particular moment only because of the time constraint, and we will have 2 sessions tomorrow in the afternoon session, so please ask your friends to join first for the session. आजचा सेशन समजलाय का सगळ्यांना? आजचा पार्ट समजलाय जो काही डिस्कस केलाय? तनिया, प्रेरणा, श्रद्धा, माधुरी, प्लीज डू रिस्पॉन्ड इमिजिएटली. ऐश्वर्या, शाहीन, सिद्धेश्वर, आजच्या पार्ट बद्दल काही डाऊट कुणाला? ओके, गुड. अदर्स प्लीज डू रिस्पॉन्ड. माधुरी, शाहीन, सिद्धेश्वर, प्रेरणा. Okay. Any doubts regarding the today's session? Any doubts regarding the today's session? Okay. If no doubts, then we will conclude our session at this particular moment. So thank you everyone for attending the session. Goodbye.